What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Chilling Adaptation on Minor Evac. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Minor Evac is the map where we have to fight our way to the evac ships, and defend them from the infested as they launch. We have to successfully defend 5 ships to win. On brutal difficulty, we lose the game if we lose more than 1 ship. Enemies have a chance to transform into stronger units when they deal damage. They definitely transform when they destroy your things. Blizzards move across the map and slow down your forces.
Alright, we have Zero and Edpun home at the call today. How are you guys?
You're doing fine.
Awesome. I'm destroyed, by the way. I'm just wrecked. I'm dead. I'm a smoldering heap. I'm burning ruin. That's what I am. My Donnie. So, Zero, how do you rank the commanders this week?
So, I think both of the mutators will be a fairly big issue here, because, of course, transmutation can overwhelm you pretty quickly, so you want a way to deal with that, where that's just by not getting hit, or having some sort of like a barrier or shield, so the enemies that hit you don't transmutate. And Blizzard will kind of just be annoying. It won't be like completely game ending for most commanders, but it will really hinder those like low HP guys, which to be fair you don't really want to be using into Blizzard onto transmutation anyway.
Yeah. What do you think, Edpun home?
Yeah, it's a matter of not being able to turtle up as much as easily because of Blizzard, but which obviously helps against transmutation, but it's not too bad of a mutation because most of the enemies you fight are extremely low health infested anyways, so you aren't going to get a ton of transmutating enemies throughout the mission.
Usually it's going to be the
unless
Banshees
you
and
mess up.
Abs. Then again, the
Yeah,
Banshees and
so
Abs
as
are
long
both...
as you're
Yeah.
as long as you're target firing those and you have the capability to target fire those, take those down pretty quickly, then you're doing pretty well. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of keeping an eye on both mutators. I don't think they're hugely troublesome, but you know, if you're not careful, they can definitely wreck you.
I was actually about to say that the aberrations and infested banshee are both tier 0, so they transform to tier 1 stuff, which is like marines.
Yes.
Zerglings.
It's almost easier if they transmutate the aberrations at least. It's like, oh, it's a
Right?
marauder. It has like a quarter of the health now. So,
Yeah. So anyway, let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
Abathur does not mind Blizzard too much on this map because obviously the Blizzards don't start out on the maps. They start pushing in from the left when the game begins. So for your initial farming of biomass, the Blizzards don't really get in the way until you've already got a Brutalisk up pretty much. Once you've got your first Brutalisks out, they do very, very well against the infested, and they're very tanky, so you're not as likely to have to deal with anything dangerous transmutation-wise. And 3 Brutalisks and 3 Leviathans are able to deal pretty well with a couple hybrid behemoths or whatever you may run into if you need to. So between that, getting out some Vipers to be able to just completely shut enemies down so they can't transmutate, Abathur has a great time this week, so I had him in S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Zero?
I do agree he's decently good here, but I think early game farming can be like somewhat, not so much challenging, but I guess somewhat inconsistent, at least early game. And it's not like once you get Brutalist, it's like a free win, like at least compared to some other commanders I have that high up. I personally have him only like A tier.
Alright. Are you okay with A tier? Edpun home? Or do you...
I had a very easy time with a lot of people this week, so I have a lot of S tier, so I'm fine with A tier. That's fine.
You're fine with A tier. Okay, have you guys considered how Abathur can just rush a very early Viper and just abduct the first ship and completely nullify the timing of this map? You can like max out before activating the first ship. Is that already
I think
factored
if
in?
Actually
you do
ignoring
that,
that.
We're ignoring
it's an
that.
option, but it's kind of lame. It's
Kind of.
unless it's a really difficult mutator, it's something where it's like this isn't hard enough to warrant such a.
That's
I don't
what
know.
she said.
You're kind of ruining the game for yourself. I mean, if all you care about is getting the bounty, then fine. But I don't know. I only like to pull those kinds of things out on like very difficult mutators.
You know, I agree with that for most things, but this is one of those things, for me at least. I wouldn't call it ruined. I would call it just doing the game in a different way, because we've all played Minor Evac probably close to like 800-900 times at this point. So like if you have the option of doing something different, you know,
I would call playing against Transmutation and Blizzard the different way of playing, not abducting. I don't know. I'm not saying you're like a bad person for doing it. I'm just saying personally, I didn't.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's there.
I
It's
don't
there,
object to
but
calling
it's kind
myself
of like,
a bad person because I probably am, but probably not for
yeah,
that reason.
it's there. You can use it, and it would definitely, I'd say, make him S tier. But if you want to look at it without like that, then I could say A tier is fine as well. But
All
yeah.
right. Both of you have him in A tier. Let's put him in A tier. Prestige wise, which one do you want here?
I like
Either 2 or 0, I'd say.
2 or 0. Just not the third one, I guess. That makes
Not
sense.
third one. P1 should be okay, but I'd still prefer having Brutalisks.
All right.
Yeah.
Abathur goes in A tier. Okay, editor. I'm clearly saying this now. The current commander thing did not appear in the beginning of the Abathur portion. You cut this part out, by the way. You take a screenshot of this thing and then just have it, paste it as an image at the start of the Abathur portion. There we go. Thank you. Let's move on. Alarak, where do we have him?
So Alarak, he's really good on minor evac usually. Because of his hero unit and the mothership, they just handle this mission really well. Now his army doesn't do too well into Blizzard, but it also just doesn't need to. Like the mothership, Warp Prism, and the hero unit alone pretty much can solo, I think, all ships.
Yes.
And then you can just, add destroyers if you want to. Or you can just mass ascendance at home just to deal with attack waves, just because the heroes themselves are just good enough to solve the actual objectives. So I think he's just really simple here, so I have him in S tier.
What do you think, Edmund Home?
Yeah, I had him in A tier because if you do get several hybrid out, then just Alarak and the mothership might have a little bit of trouble with that. But yeah, I had him in A tier personally.
Are you okay with A tier, Zero, or are you gonna make an argument for S tier?
I'm fine with that, yeah.
All right.
I have a few guys in S tier, so I think they're maybe a bit simpler.
I wonder if anyone will be left after this. let's put Alarak in A tier. Prestige wise, third one, because that's what allows him to just get the mothership out and let Alarak and the mothership just solo all the ships without actually needing an army. I guess you can, include like a war prism, like they said. Let's move on. Arcturus, where do we have him?
Arcturus has a great time because he has Earth Splitter ordinances. I'd recommend P1 because then you can just spam Contaminated Strike all over the infested and just deal periodic damage. The nukes aren't terribly useful because it's just one big and done damager where you actually need to defend for like 2 minutes. You could probably go either one or any of his prestiges really, except for P2 probably. But yeah, you just ESO in the natural base and sit back and relax. Maybe have a bunker or two on site, and it's a very, very, very easy time. So I had him in S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Zero?
Yeah, I agree with S tier. ESO are really good. They kind of just kill every infested before it even has a chance to touch your bunkers, which you'll probably want a few by the ship, just so the infested don't immediately aggro to it. Now, his bunkers also just really high HP, so the Blizzard chip won't really affect them. Or I guess it will affect them, but it doesn't take away that much health, so they should last long enough. P1 or P3 should be fine. I'd personally probably go P3, just so you can put the guys with better guns inside the bunker, yeah. But yeah, anything works. I think he's still S tier no matter what. He's relatively simple here.
Unanimous S tier. That is our first S tier for this week. Prestige wise, third one. Let's move on. Artanis, where do we have him?
So Artanis is not very good on this map. Now, the mutators here aren't that terrible for him. Of course, Blizzard will make just moving around a lot worse for his already not really mobile army. So that could be awkward. Of course, his top bar here is actually just really good. You have either Shield Overcharge, which just completely nullifies either the chip from Blizzard or just Transmutation, because it works as a barrier. The Unbound Fanatics also just hold ships very well. Like you can just do the delayed drops and that
Yeah.
holds.
Totally
Of course, you don't
stagger
have
them.
infinite energy. Yeah, he's not that terrible, at least comparatively to how he usually does on minor evac mutations. He's not great either, though, I wouldn't say. And he has a pretty bad time handling any hybrid farms, which, of course, ideally shouldn't happen, but in case like one hybrid makes it to your base, he can have a like struggle a bit there. So I only have him like B or C tier.
B or C tier. What do you think, Home?
Yeah, I was struggling to find people to put below S and A, so I had Artanis in C tier. You know, just so there's something going on down there. Obviously, there's one or two other people that struggle as well, but I'd say Artanis. Yeah, it's Dragoon's not ideal against a ton of very small units. So yeah, I had him in C tier.
C tier. All right. Dehaka. Where do we have him?
Dehaka is also kind of breezing through this one. Dehaka himself, very good. P2 with pack leaders. You know, you can drop one pack leader. You can basically use all three pack leaders with every single ship. So, yeah, that's always nice. If you somehow needed that, you probably won't. But that combined with pretty much any unit composition, Tyrannosaurs, I think, is what I used. But you could also really go Guardians or Mutalisks or technically even Creeper Hosts. Probably would say maybe not that unless you're just using them to defend. But you don't need them to help with the ships, but you can kind of dominate the ships if you do actually have your army there as well. So very easy time for Dehaka as well. I had him in S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Zero?
Yeah, I agree with S tier. You place a pack leader at the ship that pretty much just handles like half the duration, and then once that runs out, you just pop another one. His army is just also pretty good here. Because Mutas, especially when they're moving, they take less damage, so they're not actually that affected by Blizzard. And then they also have the Dehaka healing later on, so yeah, they won't be dying to Blizzard. So yeah, I don't think he struggles anywhere here.
All
So
right.
S tier.
S tier for Dehaka. Let's move on. Phoenix. Where do you have him?
Phoenix. He doesn't really have healing, but he also just doesn't need to. I think I would still go P2 here, and then just throw shells. Not shells, the champions at
That's
the
the opposite.
infested.
That's the opposite of what you want to throw.
It's 1 a.m. Come on. I'm gonna get some things wrong. But yeah, even if there's some hybrid, Kali just kind of slaps them away. So yeah, I think he's pretty good here. I don't think he struggles anywhere between the early game or the late game. So I think he's as A tier.
A tier.
Not quite S.
Not quite S. What do you think, Home?
My main concern with Phoenix was the when you lose a champion and your shell runs back over, he's gonna like run back through all the blizzards and take forever, and then but you don't want your shell farm necessarily sitting out on the map too much with this one, because if they get hit by blizzard, they have half health and die really quickly. Aside from that, I do think he's gonna have a relatively good time, but because of that, I had him in B tier.
B tier. What do you think about B tier, Zero?
Not against it, but I also don't think the shells will really be dying, just because they should be under the sentry field, which already makes them take less damage. And even if some die, they're just really cheap to replace. Maybe not so much the robo ones, because they have to walk, but I think Starport can either just be moved really easily from the expansion, and the gateway can just be warped in. So I don't think you should ever be running out of champions near the ship.
I guess the concern is when the shell farm is in your base and you have to do the far northwest or the far northeast ones, they do have to walk over. So you're suggesting that you keep the shell farm near the ship?
Personally, that's probably what I would do. Not sure if it's the optimal, but I also don't think this mutation is hard enough for you to need to do anything optimal.
I guess for some ships there are places where you can hide your shell farm, like that northeast island one, the one with the infested colonist huts. But for the northwest one, the one with, I guess you can. No, you can't really hide it in the Bright Blinger area. Where can you hide?
You don't even need to hide. You don't need to hide them. Just place them near the ships. Like
Just
the
sit
champions
there?
will be drawing most of the aggro, right?
I
Like, I don't think
guess.
enemies are the issue for them. It's just the blizzard. Even then, they're still like Protoss units, so they won't instantly die the second they touch a blizzard. And then they're also getting the damage negation.
Okay. So what do you think about that, Edwin?
I just think it's a lot more to think about than like Abathur or Alarak, you know. But I'm good either way. Wherever Zer wants to go. So A tier's fine.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Are they not like a whole lot more to think about than Abathur and Alarak?
Probably, yeah.
So does that matter?
I'm fine with B.
So where are we going? A or B?
Let's go B.
Let's go
There's
B,
gonna be
yeah.
a lot of people
Alright.
in S and A. So
Yeah.
the more people we can move to B and C, the better, you know.
Okay. Let's move Phoenix to B. Let's move on. Han and Horner. Where do we have them?
They have Hellbats, and Reapers, which both do pretty well against the upfront infested, but they're also, the Reapers at least, are quite squishy against the Blizzards. But they do move fast, and as long as you're careful and you don't get too bad RNG, it's not impossible to dodge Blizzards here. You could also go for a couple Vikings, which just shred the infested on this map. Definitely not ideal compared to a lot of others, but it does okay. So I had her in the same area as Artanis, C tier.
C tier. What do you think, Zero?
Personally, I had her in D tier. I just think she's worse than Artanis. Her army is very similar to his, as in it kind of just takes a lot of space, assuming you're going for the mercenaries instead of just pure Dominion guys, because you can't really mass a lot of Dominion guys here. And they're also just really low health. She doesn't have a top bar as good as Artanis.
And what are our top bars?
So, yeah.
Feeds?
Oh yeah. So I guess it doesn't really feed because it just explodes after, and I doubt any
Makes
infested
sense.
will transmute into hybrid fast enough. But still, the top bar just does not really compare to the tanking of like Unbound Fanatics or just to the shield overcharge. And their units are just a lot more squishy, and without the passive shield regen that Artanis Dragoons have, which I think is why she's a tier below.
What do you think about that, Edwin?
That works for me. Yeah, it's definitely
Alright.
gonna be a little painful to dodge Blizzards and everything. So D tier's good.
Alright. No prestige recommendation for Han and Horner because D tier is considered bad. That being said, I would probably just use like a couple Vikings and Hellbutts in front just to make the fear effect, or at least slow them down. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. Anyway, let's move on to someone who's not D tier, Karax. Where do we have him?
Karax, you make cannon, and cannon defend ship.
You warriors are good. Real good. The best.
Now cannon also won't die to Blizzard because they get repaired by batteries
What
and the
is
repair beam. So that's the summary for Karax. You make cannon good, cannon defend. Yeah, Karax, I'd say like A or S tier. I'm not really against S tier, but I just think some of the S tier guys are better.
Alright, what do you think, Edwin?
Yeah, he's really, really good. You can go P1 or P3, really. You can burn the ground with Solar Lance, and then you have your actual cannons. It's never really even going to feel close. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you might run into trouble with, and maybe the argument for P3 for the APM challenged among us is then your
Ouch.
repair beam can hit your probe so it doesn't die in the middle of a blizzard before it can build your cannons or something like that.
You're just gonna burn me every single time now,
Obviously.
aren't you?
I wasn't. I was saying among us as in with the viewers. I wasn't calling you low APM. I'm just saying, P1, your probe might die to the blizzard a little more easily. But yeah,
That
I
makes
think he's
sense.
very, very good here. So I had him in S tier as well. I have a lot of people in S tier, forewarning. So
That makes sense. Are you okay with S tier, Zero?
I'm fine with it. I think clearing might be a bit problematic. Not exactly hard, it's just you need to pre-clear areas, which some people may struggle with.
Okay.
But if you
So
can do that, I think it's just really good.
okay.
I'm not against that.
Let's move Karax to S tier. Because Cannon's good. Let's move on. Kerrigan, where do we have him?
Kerrigan is pretty good this week. Kerrigan herself can basically handle most of it. I went with just Ultralisks alongside because they have a lot of tanking and they don't care too much about the hybrid. And it was a fairly easy time, but definitely not as easy as others. I had her in A tier.
A tier. What do you think, Zero?
Yeah, I think A tier's fine. She doesn't really care much about Blizzard just because her army moves through Omega Worm. I assume you're gonna go Ultralisks, which also just don't care much about Blizzard. And actually, I think Transmutation may buff Ultralisks in a way, just because the Banshees will transmute into like Zealots and Marines, so they can be hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, she doesn't really struggle with mobility just because worms are good. So I think she could honestly be like S tier probably.
Ooh, what do you think about S tier, Edwin Home?
It just felt worse by a good bit than all the people I had in S tier at least playing her. I mean, I did win, but it wasn't a huge deal to win necessarily this week. But she didn't feel as, for like the last ship in particular, like you can start to get the transmutations running a little out of hand, and if you get 5 or so hybrid behemoths going, then the ultralisks do start to fall, and it's just a little messier than, or can be a little messier than some of the others.
So I guess not S tier, A tier then?
I would say A tier, yeah.
Are you okay with A tier, Zero? I mean, it's
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
actually it's if it's not unanimous, it's not S. So it's like
Yeah.
all right. Kerrigan goes in A tier. Prestige wise, nope.
I'd say 3 or 2, probably.
3 or 2. Okay.
I think if
fine.
you go P0, you may struggle to like air attack waves. And I just
If I'm going no
would
prestige,
prefer-
I would just wait for the air waves to transform into ground stuff, so and that will destroy them.
that works until you get a single carrier.
That is true.
The interceptors
true.
mutate, the carrier doesn't.
Do carriers spawn on this map?
No, but actually they might, but I think things can transmutate into carriers.
They can That's true. They can transmutate to carriers. That makes sense. All right. Let's move on. Oh wait, yeah. Let's move on. Nova. Where do we have him?
Nova, I have her in S tier. She has a lot of damage negation. Most notably the defensive drone, which just prevents things from transmutating. Her army is also just really good at defending on this map. And her army, I usually just mean liberators. And then you have ravens, which give you a bunch of healing, so blizzard isn't an issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, she also has a lot of mobility. He has the
airlift.
What's it called? Yeah, not airlift. Boom boom. What's it called?
Airstrike.
Airstrike. Yes, that's the name. Yeah, in case like an enemy wave comes for you and you're out of position. So yeah, I think she's S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Edwin Home?
Yeah, Nova's very good. Liberators can siege up in pretty safe positions. They have the Ravens to heal. The Raven turrets deal splash damage. Nova herself with the shotgun does great against the infested, and it's a pretty easy time. So had her in S tier.
S tier. All right, unanimous S tier. Prestige wise. You want to go with the first one this week, yeah? There's no reason to go for the third one because there's basically no heavily fortified bases here. All right.
Yep.
First prestige this week. Moving on. Raynor. Where do we have him?
Raynor can rely pretty heavily on bunkers here. You have to be a little worried about Blizzard eventually wearing those down, and you don't have fast building bunkers, so it's a bit more of a pain than some of the other bunker guys. But once you get your position set up with some turrets, some bunkers, and your top bars, you should do pretty good work here. It's definitely not S tier work, but I had him in A tier.
A tier. What do you think, Zero?
I think he's B tier, personally. He's kind of just a worse Arcturus. So he's not terrible, he's still being compared to Arcturus, it's just he has a way, I guess, harder time getting those bunkers up, and even once he gets those bunkers up, they're just a lot worse. And yeah, because they're just a lot thicker, you actually have to get SCVs up, and then just safeguard them for the entire time they're building the bunker, whereas Arcturus just rushes them up or drops them. So getting those bunkers up will already be hard enough if you don't fully pay attention to those SCVs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like his army can really stay under blizzards unless you go battle cruisers, which I guess eventually, if you get to that point, they're fine, but they don't really defend very well early on.
That's
He's not
true.
terrible. I just don't really think he compares to the A tiers.
What do you think, Espenholm?
That's fair. I'm fine with B tier.
B tier. Okay. Raynor goes down to B tier. Prestige wise. Actually, what do you guys think about the first prestige? Just let your bio stand there menacingly.
I mean, issue with P1 already is the medic energy. So
Oh yeah,
it
that's true.
probably works just because this isn't a really hard mutation, but I would not really recommend it.
All right, Raynor goes down to B tier. So not first prestige. You want one with mules.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, 0 or 3 probably.
All right, let's move on. Stat boy, where do we have him?
Green zone just nullifies a mutator. Then you have this funny unit called a Zergling that nullifies the other mutator. Yeah, I think he's like S, if not even double S. He's just
Ooh.
really good here.
What do you think, Edwin Home?
Spoilers. He's very good. I actually just went pretty much mass lurker with Step Boy over top, and you just overcharge the one Stetolite to make sure it doesn't go down to Blizzard. All of your lurkers underneath, they absolutely shred everything before it could even think about transmutating.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really, really easy time. So yeah, I had him in S tier.
S tier. Unanimous S tier actually. Which prestige do we recommend here? Second one or third one?
Second one.
Second one. Because I was thinking like this is also this map in general is pretty good for the second prestige because your ultralisks become machine gun huggers things.
I think
Yes.
even P1 might work, right? I think P1 has a nice benefit of having green zone across the entire map, so it helps your ally rally units a lot. I guess it
Yeah.
doesn't matter much if you're just soloing.
Yeah, you can P1. I actually, just to see, I'm like, this seems like an ideal P1 situation. I tried it, and I'm like, this just feels so much worse than P2. So,
Yeah, that's how it usually goes, though.
yeah. Every now and then I like to remind myself, it's like, oh yeah, this
This is why we
It
don't do the
actually
first
sucked.
prestige.
Yeah.
The problem is, I mean, yeah, I guess you could help your ally a little more, but again, you can just constantly overcharge the one Stetolite you need to heal your entire army. And so it basically makes it so like you already have P1's benefit, but then you now have a quadruple health damage Gary compared to what P1 gets. So yeah, I'd say P2. You could go P3 for sure. I think that's probably fine because then you at least still get super Gary for like detection and things like that.
Yes. Plus, he's not super slow aside the stat zone, so yeah, another benefit. Anyway, let's put
That's
Stat
another
Boy,
benefit.
in S tier. There we go. Let's move on. Stukov, where do we have him?
Stukov, this is actually a somewhat workable transmutation week for him because you can just go P1. Hooray!
Hey.
Everyone rejoice. You don't have to go P3. In fact, you really shouldn't. This is like the ultimate P3 destruction mutator.
P3
Between Blizzard slowing your units down before they get there, and then everything just turns into hybrid and kills you anyways. So go P1. It's actually a pretty enjoyable time. Mix of Liberators and tanks, and maybe a few queens in there. Brood queens, that is. And he kind of breezes right through it. So I had him in A tier.
A tier. What do you think, Zero?
Yeah, of course, don't go P3. Now, P1 is decent at defending the ships, but it doesn't really enjoy staying under Blizzard that much. At least they don't like instantly die, but they don't have really reliable healing, which is the only thing I'm like somewhat worried about. And of course, rallying them across the map will still be an issue.
Well,
I don't.
the Liberators maybe, but the tanks can just deep tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my experience, the Liberators, or not the Liberators, sorry, Diamondbacks, I was saying. I meant to say, if I said Liberators, I misspoke. You could go Liberators as well, but the Diamondbacks, you can just dance around the Blizzards. What I typically did is just hold the Diamondbacks until it starts to look a little hairy, and then deep tunnel the tanks in behind them to clean up like the last 30 seconds to a minute of the wave. You also get Apocalypse for like every single ship, and Alexander for every other ship. So between all of that, it was very easy.
So
The
what?
lack of healing and whatnot knocked him down from S for me, but he was still A tier because I mean, you just Liberators are meant to shoot on the move, so it's not like dodging out of the blizzard is costing you DPS. You're still dealing all the damage. Um, so yeah, as long as you're clicking around that, it's pretty easy.
So we're going A tier.
Yeah, I'm fine
I'd
with
say
8
A
here.
tier.
Sounds
All
easy
right.
enough, yeah.
Stukov A tier, first prestige, not third. Moving on, Swann. Where do we have him?
Well, so he's kind of just a Karax, except he has a harder time putting cannons around the ship. I guess in his case, turrets, just because he actually has to build them instead of just warp and they're instantly there. But is that enough to drop him from S tier? Maybe, I'm not so sure. His cannon, I guess not cannons, turrets are better than Karax, but also the engines just aren't really strong enough for you to need them to be better. So yeah, I still think he's probably S tier. It's just you have to babysit your SCVs a bit more.
Slightly less S. They're S and they're S. What do you think, Edwin Home?
I had him in A tier because it was
Ooh.
like when I did it, it was a lot more of a pain to actually get your turrets up. If you can do that and you're confident in that, then I think S is probably fine. But yeah, like actually getting to the areas and getting them cleared out, and then keeping your SCVs alive and building the turrets and all of that was kind of a pain compared to Karax for me.
Are you gonna make a case for S, Zero, or is A fine?
I'm fine with either.
All right.
Let's go A.
Not unanimous S, therefore not S. Let's put Swann in A tier. Prestige wise, second one, right?
Yeah, I'd still go P2.
Yeah, you want the
Yeah.
top bars for clearing. Moving on, Tychus, where do we have him?
Tychus, I would recommend not going P2. I mean, you probably could, but you know, if you can go P3 and have it work well, I like to do that at least. You just go Rattlesnake for healing. You get the Odin for, I mean, he lasts 2 minutes with like a 20-second downtime with P3. So you just have the Odin absolutely annihilating all of the infested, annihilating any hybrid that come out. It's a very easy time. So I had him in S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Zero?
Yeah, I agree with S tier. He has a lot of teleports to get around the map. He has a bunch of healing. Odin defends very well. So yeah.
All right, third prestige for Tychus this week. You can still go for second prestige, but I mean, third is better this week. Not all the time, this week. Vorazun, where do we have him?
Vorazun, so her army's just really awkward to use on this map. Because ideally, well, against most things you want to go Dark Templar, but Dark Templar don't really defend infested very well, especially because one of the ships has the volatiles, which Dark Templar just die to.
Yeah.
So you'll probably want to go for like Void Rays, but Void Rays don't do very well into blizzards. So yeah, that, and of course Void Rays just suck. So that's another problem. I don't think she's that terrible. I have her around C tier.
Okay, so around Artanis. What do you think, Edmund?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had her in C tier just because, yeah, I mean, it's just a bit of an awkward situation all around for her.
She's like the nerdy teenage kid. She's so awkward.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we've said in many tier lists, you know, she's largely a time stop based commander, and time stop only does 20 seconds of a 2-minute wave in each thing, so it's not that
She
helpful.
does
It doesn't
one
even
thing.
do that. That's the funny part. It stops the timer.
Right, it stops whatever's
That's a
currently
stop.
out, and then stuff
Yeah.
keeps spawning. Yeah,
Time stop does nothing.
yeah.
Very
so
awkward.
her best thing is not very helpful here. So yeah,
Very sad.
she should be grateful she's in C, basically.
Yeah, your best bet as Vorazun probably is Cloaked Wall, and then a bunch of Corsairs to just prevent the enemy from shooting. That's probably your best bet. That's what I would go for. Maybe Oracles if you're like Einkalagan. They can do many things at the same time. I am not like
I can see
Einkalagan.
Mass Stalker because she does have the shield regen on Blink with Stalkers, so that helps counteract
Perhaps.
Blizzard.
A little squishier.
Haven't tried
against-
it myself.
Yeah, I would be a little wary of using
Hybrid.
that against the Abs and Banshees, but that probably works. Anyway, Vorazun should be happy she's in C tier. She has one prestige, the third one. Let's move on to someone who's probably not C tier. Zagara, where do we have him? C tier, probably.
Zagara already kind of hates this map, and then you add in the mutators we've got, and she really hates this map. So I think you want to go for Mother of Constructs because aberrations and corruptors are at least a little more tanky, but it's still going to be pretty much eternal suffering, I think. So I had her in E tier.
E tier. What do you think, Zero?
So Zagara's amazing for like the first 2 ships. Then she realizes she can't solve the entire map on her own, and then she sucks. So yeah, I think E tier is fine for her.
Wow.
She does have the benefit of at least being able to carry the early game for your ally, but because you have to rely on your ally to get to a decent mass, yeah, that really puts her down.
All right, Zagara E tier. No prestige recommendations because E tier is considered bad, but if you want to use her, you have to do the 2-2 thing. Let's move on. Zeratul, where do we have him?
Zeratul, Shield Guard are kind of good. They heal through Blizzard, and especially if you have a Void Array, which means you don't have to rally your units across the map, and it heals you. That will really make ships really easy to defend. And then you can just make cannons at home with your spare minerals, which you will have, and you just warp them in if and when they're needed. So yeah, I think he's just really easy here. So I have him in S tier.
Yes. Plus, you can cage the artifact. What do you think, Edwin Home?
Yeah.
Yeah, P2, Artifact Cage, Cannons, Shield Guard, Demote Dude. Who cares if the Lings can evolve? They're drones now.
Kick them back down.
Very, very easy. Yeah.
Oh, my Donnie. Okay, S tier. That is Zeratul. All right, those are all the commanders in their respective tiers. Do we have a double S this week?
I'd say Stetmann qualifies.
Stetboy qualifies. What do you think, Edwin Helm?
Yeah, I mean, you just put Gary in the right spot and have any units underneath him, and you win just like normal. So
Yeah.
I think that's...
He has so many
Double
ways
S.
to win, even. So double S. All right, let's
Yeah.
do one this week. And with the power of movie magic, we have a double S tier. Stetboy. So who's top of S tier?
Tychus?
Tychus.
Yeah, I think Tychus.
Then,
Probably
Zeratul?
Arcturus.
ooh, Zeratul
Or
or
Zeratul.
Arcturus?
I don't know. Arcturus, it's like you just build the ESOs. You don't even have to walk the units out there. You just drop a bunker from orbit. You know.
I mean, Zeratul has Void Arrays, and he has cannon projections.
It's true. I mean, they're
Zeratul
both
can't just
very good.
AFK Shield Guard, right?
Shield guards.
I mean, I'm fine with either one, really.
Yeah.
I think the second and third for sure.
Arcturus has
Yeah,
repair, though.
I'd agree with that.
Okay, let's just call it a tie. It's fine. Next,
Nova?
Nova?
Then Dehaka, yeah, and then Karax.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
That's right.
Who's top of A tier?
Swann.
Swann, yeah.
Yeah, this is barely
And
not
Abathur.
S. Abathur. Not Alarak?
Yeah, I'd say Alarak.
Yeah, Alarak is fine. Yeah.
Then,
Then Abathur, then probably Kerrigan, then Stukov.
all right. Those are
I-
the A tiers.
Switch Kerrigan Abathur. That's fine.
Like this?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
And Abathur has the locust thing, which could feed, although
Yeah,
he could
that's true.
intentionally
Just
feed his
extra
Abathur.
biomass.
Yeah. If you're Pikai, you could probably
Yeah, you
just,
do get more biomass with Abathur on this mutation, which is nice.
and you can do the cheese thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Who's top of B?
Phoenix?
Yeah, I think
Alright.
Phoenix. And then Artanis better than Vorazun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say this is right.
All right, so that's the commanders in their respective tiers and rankings. No commander synergies this week because they're like only 1/3 of the commanders are below A tier, so no need for that. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for what else, please leave it in a comment. I will see you guys next time.